I'm sharing a full face of drugstore makeup that works just as good, if not better, than high-end makeup. Hi, if you don't know me, my name's Janelle. I'm a professional makeup artist. I wanted to show you each product in action. The main reason I wanted to film this is because I know I shared my Sephora sale recommendations. Some people don't shop the sale, some people maybe miss the sale. So I wanted to share drugstore products that are pretty much on sale all year round, because a lot of these products are dupes for like $50 products, $30 products. And I just wanted to show that you can create beautiful makeup, have a beautiful base routine, lip routine, all of that without breaking the bank. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, then definitely please keep watching and let's jump into the video. So I'm really excited because I thought it would be better to put everything on my face so that way you guys can see it in action. I have this monstrosity right here. So my favorite smoothing primer. I've been talking about this primer since 2020. The e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer is hands down just like one of my all-time favorite primers because it does everything in one, and I use a good amount. You can apply it with your fingers, or a brush also applies it really nice. My favorite thing about this primer is that it not only smooths, but it also hydrates the skin and gives it a tacky finish. I find with a lot of other pore smoothing primers, it'll almost dry out the skin too much. So my pores look great, but then my foundation isn't sitting nicely on top of it. I'm actually going to quickly fill in my brows. The NYX Micro Brow Pencil is so good. It reminds me of like the ABH brow pencil or the Benefit Precisely My Brow. With my brows, I just fill in where it's sparse. I try not to go overboard because I can look angry really fast when it comes to much brow product. So I follow the direction of my brow hairs and do light hair-like strokes. I concealed under my brows before I started filming because if I don't do it right away, I forget. So I highly recommend doing that before you fill them in. It allows you to use way less brow product and it helps you kind of create the shape before filling it in with the pencil. Sometimes when you try to just create the shape with the pencil, that's when it can get like overboard and just very scary very fast. Another tip I have is to always take a step back when doing your makeup and don't try to make it perfect before everything else is done. Because if I focus too much on my brows and I'm like trying to get it to look a certain way, then by the time I do my eyeshadow, it might not fit the rest of the makeup look. And then now I'm stuck to work around a certain brow type instead of just like coming back to things as I go through the rest of the makeup process. The Physicians Formula Butter Glow Liquid Bronzer. This is such a close dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter and the Drunk Elephant Debronzy Drop type of vibe. This is almost like a combination of the two. It gives you a little bit of coverage. You can see the texture. It's like, hold on, no, you can't see it because my camera's not focusing. You see the texture, it's like kind of thick, but I just rub it in with my fingers and it kind of goes on literally like a moisturizer. I love using this product on its own, but you could definitely layer a foundation on top for more coverage. Do you see how quick and easy that just melts in? Like if you're somebody on the go that doesn't like to take a lot of time to do your makeup, this is such an amazing product. I love it so much. I'm gonna add a little bit more to this little guy down here and tap around it. I'll probably have to keep covering it up throughout the video. I ate a bunch of cheese this weekend and dairy and my skin do not mix. Like I can have some dairy, but like I went overboard this weekend with the amount of cheese I consumed. It was like a whole half a block of smoked Gouda cheese. So freaking good. My skin retaliated. Now, if you wanted to build off of this for more coverage, the Joah Beauty Luminous Peptide Foundation is not raved about enough. I actually discovered this because I was doing like a partnership with them on TikTok. I hate it whenever I do a partnership and I'm like, this sounds like yes, a part of the deliverables are talking about the foundation and the perks, but like genuinely, I love this product so much and I'm like, I don't want you guys to think this is just an ad because it's literally so good. I filmed this look yesterday for TikTok too, and the way liquid butter bronzer wore with this foundation, like it just stayed put beautifully throughout the day. Since this already gives some coverage, you don't need too much other foundation, so I just dot it in the center on my blemish. I think I'll use a brush first and then I'll push in the rest with a sponge. But watch this. Like, do you see that finish? It's definitely like a medium buildable coverage. I truly think the coverage is perfect because it evens up the skin without looking like you have a thick layer of a heavy foundation. And what I love even more about it is how beautiful it wears, because a lot of times luminous foundations like this and my skin don't necessarily work well because it'll look great at first and then in the middle of the day it's just like a greasy, slimy mess. It looks muddy, everything's moving everywhere, but this actually stays put. Like to me, the finish looks just like a high-end foundation. So take my beauty sponge just to pick up any excess. Oh, concealer. Did I want to do concealer next? No, let's do contour. I've talked about this before on my channel, but the Milani Conceal and Perfect Liquid Contour is so good. It honestly makes me question why I ever spend money on like more luxury contour products. Because every time I use this, I'm like, this performs just like my $40 liquid contour. A little goes a long way with this product, but it's still really easy to blend. I also like the color selection that they have. I should have waited to do my hair. If I pull this back, I'm gonna look weird. It has the perfect amount of pigment to where it'll melt into the skin, but not completely just like dissipate and disappear, and just gives you that perfect amount of contour and shadow. And you could totally build it up if you wanted to too. Don't be alarmed, I'm gonna blend out the nose contour in a second, but I like to wait until I do concealer to like finish blending that out. These CoverGirl Dewy Tint liquid blushes are not talked about enough. I don't know if you can see them, but they give you a really pretty lit from within finish. They sit beautifully on top of the foundation without separating. Let's see, what shade should I use? Dreamy Pink is one of my favorites, and then I also really enjoy Fuchsia Passion, especially for this time of year. It's like a little bit deeper. So that's Dreamy Pink and that's Fuchsia Passion. We'll just mix them while they're on the back of my hand. Either one of these shades are just so pretty. I like to really work it into a brush first. I like that these are really buildable too, so they're not gonna be overly pigmented to where then if you apply like too much, it's hard to make it work. Now, this isn't drugstore, but it is so affordable and literally incredible. I got this during the Sephora sale. Sephora Collection Bright Future Serum Concealer. Now, the cool thing about this concealer is, for one, during the sale, it's like 30% off. And then they had it marked down even further. I think I got this for like $6 during the sale. I got this along with the Tower 28 concealer. I've been using both and they're both so similar. It's really hard to tell the difference. This is a very creamy, medium buildable coverage. It doesn't crease. Even its regular price is pretty good for like how incredible this is. I believe it's $14, but you're literally gonna get like a high-end finish with this. I mentioned this in my Sephora haul too, that like I've heard that a lot of the Sephora collection products are made in the same manufacturer as a lot of high-end luxury brands. So a lot of times you're getting that same quality just because of the branding and the packaging. You're gonna get it a lot cheaper. I also love that this concealer can be worn very sheer. Like I can dot it and just blend it out with a brush really quick and it will look like natural skin that you don't even need to set. You can go on about your day. It doesn't feel heavy, but it will give you that perfect amount of coverage. Now I'm gonna push it in with my beauty sponge, and then I always like to go back in with whatever brush I used for the blush, and I will tap it right on top of my cheeks to help blend the concealer and blush together a little bit better, so it's not like concealer, blush. Now for my favorite part, these two products. I'm literally like honestly shocked that they are so affordable. So first I need to wipe it off because I use it all the time with my dirty makeup hands. But the Joah Beauty Hydrating Glow Mist, this smells just like my Jo Malone Pear Freesia fragrance. If you don't like fragrance, this is definitely very fragranted, but it smells so good. Like it's such a clean, fresh scent, and then the mist on it is like what? So I like to spray my face with this first and then go in with the Joah Glow Perfecting Powder. I've been reaching for this more than my high-end powder. It kind of reminds me of the Givenchy Prism Powder. It's a little bit more luminous, but it sets the makeup without giving you that powder-like finish. It'll lock your makeup in place, but still allow that glow to peek through without being like a shimmery powder. I'm just gonna show you guys it in well, of course there's makeup on it. I'm gonna show you it in action because I feel like my words won't do any justice. That's why I wanted to apply everything so you guys can see each step. I spray my face, and then once my face is like 70% dry, I'll go in with the powder. I'll either apply it with the butt of my beauty sponge or with a fluffy brush. The cool thing about this powder, it has vitamin E in it, so it helps like further hydrate the skin. And it mixes like these three colors to like blur and brighten. So once my face is a little dry, I'll start pushing this. Do you see that? You see how you see a little of that glow still, but everything's set, so my makeup's not gonna move anywhere. It's locked in place, but it gives you that natural skin-like finish. So I like to set all over first, and then I do my blush and bronzer, and then I'll go in and like further set my under eyes. I hate having foundation lips. It's just like my biggest pet peeve. That already looks so good. Like you could literally stop everything there. I discovered this and I'm so happy. So the Revolution Wait, can't open it and I don't want to break a nail because these are just like press-ons. There we go. The Revolution Bronzer Reloaded Bronzer is literally an exact dupe for my Hourglass Radiant Bronzer and or my Hourglass Ambient Bronzer in Radiant Bronze. Like the colors are so similar, the way they wear are so similar. It's so beautiful. Like this is a perfect bronzer for the winter time because it will give you that lit from within, I've been in the sun kind of glow. I do like to apply it with my Hourglass bronzing brush, but hey, I'll splurge on the brush that I can use again and again and again and never have to replace, and then just get this $8 bronzer instead of a $58 bronzer. I like to swirl my brush like that, kind of like coating all the edges. And I just like tap it on my forehead, and then I'll flip my brush kind of like up like that and start pressing it on my cheek. See the slight sheen that it gives without being like a chunky glitter bronzer. I don't like that. I honestly was hesitant even with the Hourglass one, because I don't like anything shimmery on my face, but when I saw the way it melts into the skin and almost gives like a cream-like finish, that's what got me hooked. And so now that I can get that same look with an $8 bronzer, I'm like, absolutely, sign me up. I've also been enjoying the Revolution Blush Reloaded blushes. This one's in the shade Rose Kiss. It's just perfect for like this time of year. I also thoroughly enjoy the Kokie blushes. These are incredible, super pigmented. They have matte versions and they have some that have like a little bit of a sheen in them. Going with the blush, I'm applying it with my Morphe X Ariel blush brush, and I like to start up here and just kind of swirl. I like that these are pigmented but easy to diffuse on the cheek, and they last a long time. I hate blushes that fade super quick, where you put them on and then by the middle of the day it looks like you have nothing on your cheek, you look washed out. So when I set my under eyes, it has 3 shades. I don't know if you can see, a blue, a yellow, and a pink. But I like to try to pick up mostly the pink for my under eyes to give that pinky flush. Honestly, it looks pretty even with all the colors together because it ends up blending out to just being like a translucent finish. You're not gonna see freaking blue on your face. It's pretty. It's so pretty. If you've been following me for any time, you know how much I love the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. If you don't like a shimmery bronzer, you're gonna love this one. And I like that it's matte, but it's not gonna be chalky or patchy. I hate chalky bronzers. Nothing is worse than when like you have that skipping on the cheek. It just looks horrendous. Anyways, all that to say, I like to use this one to kind of like bronze / contour my nose because I don't like anything too shimmery down my nose. All right, I'm gonna let the powder sit here because I am going to be doing a light eyeshadow look, nothing crazy. If you're looking for the perfect eyeshadow palette that will work for any skin tone, any occasion, you're gonna love the Pacifica Cocoa Nudes eyeshadow palette. I believe I've used this on my channel once before. And I honestly, when you look at it, it doesn't look that pretty. And I think it's because of the packaging. The packaging ends up disguising all the colors, but the shades in here are actually really pretty. So Pacifica, I know you probably won't watch this, but your palette is incredible. But again, I think all that color and shading is like distracting from how pretty the colors are in this. This is a good one. It blends out so easily. You can create so many looks with it. Super versatile. You have a couple shimmers. You have a good amount of mattes. That's the issue with a lot of drugstore palettes, is a lot of times they'll have a bunch of shimmers and hardly any matte colors. And I think it's because shimmers are easier to make like pigmented and creamy, but mattes are hard to nail. Mattes can look patchy. And another great palette, if you just want a standard all matte palette, is the Milani Gilded Mini. This is in the shade Whiskey Business, and it has like all your transition colors, your all over lid shades. They're a lot warmer. I don't know why my camera's not picking up how warm it is, but they're a lot warmer in person. Any of their Gilded Mini palettes are really good. They have some that have shimmers mixed throughout it. The all matte one though is just one of my favorites because I love having an all matte shadow that I can create a quick eye look with and then just pop the shimmer on my lid and call it a day. So I'm gonna show you a shimmer in a second. I guess I could use both because I'm honestly only going to be doing like a transition shade. Starting with the Pacifica, I'm taking the shade Caramel and I'm going to toss that in my crease. I love palettes like this that you can throw them in your crease. They'll blend for you. You don't have to think about it. You don't need to be a pro to make it look good. Because that's the thing too. I feel like if you're not a pro, how inclined are you going to be to buy an expensive eyeshadow palette if you don't even know really how to use it? But the drugstore ones in the past used to be terrible. Like they used to not blend nice. So I like having affordable options that will still blend out like a really nice eyeshadow palette, but for a much better price. See how easy that was? Now these do have a good amount of fallout. I don't know if you can see, but I don't mind that. I just lightly work my brush in it. For example, the Milani one, I'm gonna pick up this shade. I lightly work my brush in it. Make sure to really tap off my brush really good. That way when I apply it on my face, it's not getting everywhere. Fallout does not bother me. What bothers me is when the formula isn't good. As long as you're tapping off your brush before applying it on your face, you shouldn't have a problem with fallout getting everywhere on your cheeks. And then if you do still have that issue, just do your eyeshadow before you do your face makeup. That way you can wipe off any of the fallout. The shade Cinnamon in the Cocoa Nudes palette. Tap off your brush a bunch. With that same brush, I'm gonna tap it here first and then work it up into my crease. Thing into this shade and the Gilded Mini, doing the same thing on this side. This shade Cocoa Nudes, lightly buffing that under my brow bone. This shade Gilded Midi, again, get all that fallout. And then lightly dusting that under this brow bone. Actually, I'll use this color for both, that warmer brown in the Milani palette, and tap that on my lower lash line. I like to use the tip of a shader brush and tap it on my lower lash line. I find that this avoids more fallout. It just gives me more control and more color payoff. Flick it up at the end, turn it sideways, flick it up into the crease so that everything fuses nicely together. All right, I'm gonna use the matte light color in the palette and that same shader brush, and I actually wanna highlight this inner corner really quick. Tap it in this first corner first and then lightly work it up. Use a blending brush to soften the edges. I don't know why, I just love the look of a highlighted matte inner corner. It just does something. Like, even if you keep this matte and then have a shimmer on the lid, I love the way it looks for no reason whatsoever. So this Hourglass Single Shadow is probably my favorite shimmer at the moment. It's a really pretty taupey shimmer that I like to throw all over my eyelid with just my finger to make it look like I'm trying without trying. But if you want to try a similar product and shade for less, like, I love the shade. I feel like it looks good with so many skin types, skin tones. So if you want something similar for less, the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Cosmic Charge gives such a similar finish, and it has that perfect, like, slight shimmer without being too much. Perfect for the holidays. Look at them side by side. Like, look how close they are. The ColourPop one is a little bit warmer, which I actually think is nice and makes it a little more versatile for more skin types and skin tones. But for like the $20 or $30 price difference, you really cannot beat it. So I'm gonna apply the ColourPop one. I like to apply it with my finger. Tapping a shade like this all over your eyelid will amp up your eye look immediately and make it look like you're trying without trying. Like, literally all you're doing is tossing a shimmer with your finger on your lid, and look how much that just elevated it. So I like to tap it and then I'll soften the edges with that same blending brush. Sometimes I'll even add a tiny little dot of shimmer on the brush so it kind of like twinkles throughout the rest of the eye look. Oh, the sparkle is just so pretty. All right, so now I can press away that bake. I like to use the same brush that I use for blush to move it away. That way I can keep that pinky flush. If you like a rich black liner that doesn't smudge, these L'Oreal Infallible Grip retractable pencils are so good. Matter of fact, I swatched it and then I went to use the restroom really quick, washed my hands, and like was scrubbing. Still wouldn't come off, so it's definitely smudge proof. I like using blacks to tightline my upper waterline. I like to extend the inner corner, and then I'm using a little smudgy thing to kind of smudge it further. The Maybelline Color Tattoo pencils are also so good. I love this gold one, but I lost the cap and I dried it out. Anyways, this light champagne color in the waterline would open it up, and I have a Charlotte Tilbury pencil that's so similar to this, and this worked just as good. You just don't want to lose the cap because it will dry out. So instead, I'm going to use the shade Emerald Light. I think it'll be really pretty with this eye look. And I like the way these glide on and last a long time too without smudging. If you prefer a pencil, you could get a black in the Maybelline Color Tattoo pencil instead. Taking a little bit of this brown shade and the Pacifica Cocoa Nudes, I'm going to lightly smudge out the end of that liner I put there and extend it to make it a little bit of a wing. See, these just blend so nice. I feel like they have the perfect amount of pigmentation. While we're here, I'm gonna take this shade, stamp that across my eyelid. Curling my lashes with my Japanesque lash curler. I love this lash curler because it's wide, so it'll fit on my lashes, and it's not overly like curved, which works perfect for my eyes because my eyes are like kind of hooded and like, I don't know. I have an interesting eye shape because I always considered my eyes to be small, and then when I mentioned that, somebody commented and said my eyes are not small at all. My husband calls me crazy for saying that. I think they're long, but they're kind of small. I don't know. They're just different. So that lash curler works really well for my eye shape. And then for mascara, I've talked about this before, but the Milani Antigravity will always be a holy grail. It performs so good, just like some of my high-end mascaras. I like that it doesn't flake, it holds a curl, it gives volume, it separates. I recently discovered the Joah Lash Up Rising Boosting Primer. If you're looking for a great eyelash primer, this one's so good. And this mascara performs just like a high-end mascara. I only don't use this that often because it's waterproof and I don't like waterproof mascaras. But if you prefer more of a traditional wand, you're gonna love this one. This one gives you length, volume, curl. It doesn't overly clump though, which is a lot of times my issue with those like regular wands. Sometimes they don't like separate the lashes enough. All that to say, we're gonna start with the primer first. This helps just instantly give extra volume and length. And I just like how quick it loads up on the lashes. To be honest, I need a new one of these Milani ones. This one's I think almost straight out. But I think I gave them all away because I kept telling my friends and family how bomb this mascara was. So then every time they would come, I would just give them one. The curve of the wand, like you see how it's shaped like that? It really lets you get every lash and it grips it. So nice. And then I like that little ball on the tip because then you're able to really extend the inner lashes and outer lashes. The NYX Line Loud lip pencils are some of the best lip pencils, just period. Shade Total Baller is probably my favorite lip pencil, just period, because it goes with every lip combo possible. Like kind of warm brown. It reminds me a lot of MAC Cork and ABH Cool Brown lip pencil. I'm going to sharpen it. I like that this pencil is creamy and glides on, but it's not one of those pencils that's over creamy. It ends up sliding around or disappearing throughout the day. I want to get more shades in it. These L'Oreal Glow Paradise lipsticks have been my favorite. They remind me a lot of my YSL lip glazes. They give that same like bit of color to the lips, but they're still very creamy. The shade Nude Heaven is just like such a perfect nude, I feel like, for my skin type, where it's not too nude, not too pinky. They're just really comfortable. And I don't have patience for lip products because I hate feeling like there's something on my lip, but this feels really nice. I've talked about this before. I'll have to talk about it again. The Milani Fruit Fetish lip oils are some of my favorites, and they recently came out with a whole nude collection, which I've been loving for this time of year because they have these like really pretty brownie and brownie burgundy and mauves. It's just, they're so nice. So this one's in the shade Honey Fig. Look how pretty it is on top of this combo. Like what? If you told me that was a bougie lip combo, I would 1000% believe you. All right, and there you have it. This is the completed look of all the affordable products that I think work just as good, if not better, than some luxury makeup. You can look beautiful and slay on a budget. Like, you don't need to break the bank. I don't care what Pro MUAI tells you. I don't care what an influencer tells you. I just so happen to be both. And I just so happen to be a normal human being that is like very realistic. I really wanted to throw this together for you. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you want me to make this a series, because I had to really narrow it down because I didn't want this video to be a million hours long, but I could literally do like 4 other full faces of different drugstore products that work just as good, if not better, than high-end makeup. Subscribe if you want to be in the know of when more of these come up. I love you guys and have a great day. Bye.